So I'm here with Lingam in our Maidenhead office today. Lingam joined us as a franchisee in August of last year. So welcome, Lingam.
Thank you, Nick.
To start, could you tell us a little bit about your background prior to joining Northwood?
I was actually working for McDonald's as an operations consultant. I joined them as a graduate trainee straight from uni, and I progressed through the ranks, and the last 10 years of my 20-year career with McDonald's was as an operations consultant. I must have had about 500 odd staff under me, I would say. And it reached a point where I wanted to get into my own business, start my own business, and hence started doing the research, and fell in the way of Northwood. And here I am in my office in Maidenhead.
Well, we're very pleased to have you here, and it's interesting that I think a lot of people come to franchising into Northwood in particular from a similar route where they really have desires to own their own business. And franchising offers that opportunity to do that. You of course have a lot more experience in franchising than most, having come from the background that you have. So why property?
Well, property is, I've explored a lot of options. Obviously, being in the retail industry, I've looked at my options in that side, whether it's food retailing or cafes and so on and forth. In the end, I decided my passion was always in property, and I always wanted to do something, before I wound things up in my, career. I wanted to get involved into property, and I thought long and hard about it. And it wasn't a difficult decision at all. And so I started exploring the options I had to get into the property industry, and then franchising, of course. And so Northwood stood out for a number of reasons, and decided to go ahead with Northwood. And here I am in my Maidenhead office.
Well, that's fantastic. So you said that Northwood stood out for a number of reasons.
Sure.
Do you remember when you were doing your research and looking at the different franchising options, what was it that compelled you to explore the Northwood opportunity in more detail?
Absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, I looked at it's a very, very competitive market, the property market, the estate agency, the lettings industry. And so something had to stand out. And Northwood had that USP, I always felt, and that guaranteed rent identified itself as a unique brand within a very tough competitive market. That was one. And the second reason was I looked at the structure and the systems that Northwood had, and it just flowed very much in line, I would say, with what I was used to in my previous life as an employee of McDonald's, where we are used to working with several franchisees, and McDonald's is a system that is well known for franchising. And Northwood, when I looked at it straight away, the training structure, the support structure, that network and systems all struck me as something that I want to be part of, and I want to pursue my next stage of my life within the brand.
Oh, that's great. So, and having researched beforehand and been given an overview of the support and the structure, have you found that's followed through? You'd be pleased with the level of support that you're getting as a new franchisee?
Absolutely, no questions on that front.
Can you give me an example of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for example, in terms of let's start where I started in my hunt for premises.
I remember.
It was a long and hard search because we wanted to end up in the right premises. We didn't want to make a rash decision and quick decision that turned out to be wrong in the end, but it wasn't. And I was, first of all, patient enough, and secondly, I think the support I had from the Northwood network, whether it was yourself, whether it was the operations managers within the Northwood network, was fantastic, and helped me identify the right property in the right location, so that I wasn't rushed into any decisions at all.
Well, it's great. Here you are in Estate Agent Row with I think 14 other agents here.
Absolutely.
So you're in an area where there is business going on and you can benefit from that very quickly.
Absolutely. I mean, I always felt I wanted to be in a place with the rest of the agents. I didn't want to be down an alleyway or in a place where I'm separated from the rest of the agents.
Sure.
So in that sense, yes, I am happy where the location is. And I must add one thing here, in the search for my the premises, and in terms of getting into the setup of it, I felt the franchisor, the Northwood, sort of took up a role of a hand-holding coach, I would say, guided me through every single step of the way and made me feel comfortable and made me feel that that every step of the way that they were there for the support.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Thank
and
you.
one of the things, of course, that we're really keen for new franchisees to do is to be set up correctly from day one, to be in the right area with the commercial leases on the right terms. But we also recognise as a franchisee that you're still working, and you were working ridiculously long hours right up until the launch, which we think is important to continue to gain an income. So we recognise that you don't have the time to dedicate to your new business prior to launch, and that's where we can come in and offer that. In terms of the training, can you tell me about your experience with that? Because you came to Fareham, to the training centre, and did a mixture of classroom training and online training. Did you find that was sufficient prior to launch? And have you had any reason to go back and revisit any of the training? Because of course you can do that ongoing.
Sure, absolutely. I think I must say the training systems are fantastic, and it is still a relatively young company in my eyes, I would say. But for a young company to have such a structured training system, training suite, in Fareham that caters for the needs of the new franchisees, new employees. I thought it was fantastic. For me, I would say it was an eye-opener, and it was welcoming. And it equipped me well, reasonably well. Obviously you learn. There's a lot of learning that you do on the job, and the training that I received both at Fareham and then on-field training in the expert hands of other franchisees was very helpful, very useful, and I think it prepared me well for the role ahead. So
that's interesting. So you touched on the network of franchisees. So you opened at broadly the same time as the Oxford office, and in fact I think you did your training at the same time as them, and also you have neighbouring offices to you in High Wycombe and in Maidenhead. How have you found that cluster of local offices that have worked together with you? Sure,
it helps enormously to share ideas, share best bets, and if there was some concerns you had or something that was not working, it's always good to have that support of neighbouring offices to rely on, and I must say they were all very helpful and willing to help, especially me as a new franchisee on the block, and that help was invaluable and much appreciated. As much as the franchise office, the head office support, the franchisees and the network also, I must make a mention here for them.
Absolutely. Well, it's always fantastic to talk to people that are actually out there doing the job that you're doing now. They're current and they can tell you what they're experiencing in a local level. Final question before I let you go, Lingam. How's business? How have you found it since you've launched in terms of level of interest from the local marketplace?
It's brilliant. We are thoroughly enjoying it, and obviously we are definitely making some noises in the local market, and I can see by the reaction of the local competition, and which is always positive for me.
Always satisfying.
Always satisfying. Always satisfying. So I'm looking forward to the weeks and months ahead, and we are looking forward to it, and we are thoroughly enjoying it.
Fantastic. Well, that's great. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
That was Lingam in our Maidenhead office.